Today, we're talking about the latest bullshit that I just made up. I was having an amazing conversation with my friend Ian here. He's one of the greatest entrepreneurs that I know and I deeply respect. And we were talking about the go-to-market insight triangle concept that I just made up. But it's the framework that I use in hundreds of conversations that I've had with go-to-market leaders. People love to say that. I've had millions of conversations with B2B SaaS leaders, and they have told me on numerous occasions how important it is to... Anyways, I can go on that forever. But they were talking to me. I basically have had conversations with a bunch of customers, and we were talking about how do you take a customer insight, marry it with data, define a message, and validate that with the customer. It all begins with the customer. Some people do this in the totally wrong way. What data do I buy? How do you know what data to buy? What message do I send? How do you know what message to send? It all has to begin with the customer, and this is the exact framework I use to deploy my services. You probably don't know this, but because I'm bad at promoting myself, I just like talking about go-to-market stuff. But I will build custom bespoke TAM scores for you. I will help you deploy the go-to-market insight triangle. So I'll talk to you a little bit about how I do that, but I really want to give you the framework that I use on how to know what data to buy, what to say, and what questions to ask your customers to close the go-to-market insight triangle gap. And this exact process will help you figure out which of your market do you talk to, what do you say to them, and how do you operationalize that insight. Let's dive in. All right. So everything, let's move this over. Everything starts with customer interviews. Everything must begin here. Remember, your customers have spent their entire I'm out of the frame. Your customers have spent their entire existence getting to the point they buy your product or software or service. And this is really important to remember because they understand the buying context that they're in. They understand the competitors that they know. They understand why they made the decision to transact. They know the value that they got for it. And these are all things that generally are kind of opaque to you. It's really hard to know these things, even though you've had thousands of conversations with customers. You need to dive in a little bit deeper and really get to the root of that buying decisions. Sometimes customers don't really want to talk about it. Sometimes they might not even know why they bought, and so you have to dig deep. So where this customer interview begins, and you can take it from, I was listening to Will Smith here, Willennium, which my friend Will Megson didn't know about the Willennium, which I thought to be particularly interesting. So Claude and I built this together. You can tell by the nice Claude background that I've decided not to remove. I don't know why. Someone's like, Jordan, can I take this from you? I'm like, well, I took it from Claude, so absolutely. So I had a conversation with Claude to build this customer interview script. Basically, thank you so much. Here's the interview. Just giving some background conversation. This is a persona targeting, right? Describe your role, a primary purpose. What are your metrics? What are the goals you're responsible for achieving? No one does this. They talk about their software and service. Here's everything that we do, and here's why we matter, and here's why you should care about, and here's everything about us. No one gives a shit about you. Nobody wakes up to buy B2B SaaS. Absolutely zero people wake up and they're like, I could go for some B2B SaaS. No one does that. They care about their metrics and their goals and achieving things in their role. What are the biggest challenges that you face, right? You have an understanding of their psychographics, as people call it. Current usage. What are you doing with our product? How frequently you use it? Like, how does it achieve your goals, right? How are you actually experiencing the product in the day-to-day? Don't lead them. Are you using X, Y, or Z? Do not lead them down that path. Let them. What is the previous solution? What were you doing before us? Now, many people are saying, well, we're using X, Y, or Z tool. Also, don't do that. Mostly you're competing with Excel or manual work. You'd be really surprised. You're not often competing with a competitor. Depends on what you're selling. But this is really like, how are you addressing this problem or need? What other solutions did you consider? What are the main reasons you decided to switch? This is really important. Great. Evaluation of alternatives. Everything is an alternative. There's always an alternative to your product or service. And for you to bury your head in the sand and say, no, I'm the only one that does it, that's totally ridiculous. Do not do that. You need to understand their buying context. And if you can provide information to your future customers about the buying context, they respect you because they know you don't exist in a vacuum. Oh, I'm not going to mention my competitors. Then they're going to find out about Gong. Come on, get out of here. When evaluating, what were the most important factors you considered? I had a conversation with a customer's customer one time. They said, Jordan, this was the most expensive product and it wasn't as good as the main competitor. I'm like, well, why'd you buy it? They're like, to buy the main competitor, I had 17 locations. I would have had to made 17 separate transactions because they're a franchise, right? You were just easier to buy. No one's ever going to lead with that message, but that insight is very important. How did it compare to other solutions? Were there any specific features or capabilities? What improvements or benefits? Can you share metrics, right? How are you measuring this? What do you consider the most valuable part? What are the, find challenge or frustrating? What don't you like? Not going to lead with that when I go to market. What additional features would you have? What's the decision-making process? Really important. Nate Nostrala is an expert at this. He knows everything about every decision-making process from every buyer in the world. And so it's like, what were you involved in? What are the main objectives? Like, how did you convince stakeholders? What do you need in the future? This is how the buying insight, something went wrong. Of course, something always goes wrong. That's the customer interviews. Everything is anchored from this position. Now you got to go to the data exercise. Well, what the hell is the data exercise, Jordan? This is taking those insights and looking at the domains of those customers, their websites, and figuring out how does this match to publicly identifiable data. Look at their LinkedIn. Look at their recent hires. Do it manually yourself. Do not outsource this. You're going to see things that no one else can see. My friend Ian was saying, I really care about their integrations page. And I said, amazing. Now, just knowing the integrations isn't really helpful. But in his case, he wanted to know things like, what types of integrations are they using? What are the combinations in a category of integrations they're using? And where are their gaps? Now, we had specific conversations with customers to know what gaps mattered. And this is looking at their website. It might be looking at my tool, Blueprint Intent, intent.blueprintgtm.com, and you can paste in the websites of the customers that you chatted with and see their historical job descriptions to see if you can match the inside to the data. This is really important. That's why it's the first leg of the triangle. And what you're doing is you're inventing columns. Now, the beauty of a column of data is that you're trying to standardize that research process. And you're going to see variations among that standard question that you have. You're like, the kind of middle ground here is this. If they have a call, if they have, like someone said, I care about how many unique landing pages they have. Great question, right? That indicates that they have a sophisticated paid ad strategy. Also, they have a bunch of different pixels on those landing pages. That indicates that they're really good at measurement. Now, you can make that stuff up, and if you start with data without the customer insight, that means you're doing some bullshit work here. You're trying to reverse into nothing in particular. You're throwing spaghetti into the universe, not at a wall. And so what you're going to need to do is tie that data to an actual conversation. That's why if you have hundreds of customer conversations, even 50 customer conversations, go pull up that exact company. And as you invent columns, you're going to tie each back to a customer conversation, a customer insight. Now, the beauty of doing this exercise, and this is actually the service that we provide, we will help you do this exercise. There's generally 3 to 10 bespoke columns of data that you will find, and none will be perfect. Trust me, none will be perfect. But the sum of these columns will aggregate the insights and also allow you to score your market. You will be able to sort the companies that you want to talk to by tiers based on the sum of problems that are anchored to customer insights. Let's get to the message hypothesis now, the second part of the triangle here. So connecting the data to the message is really important. Remember, it all goes back to the customer insight, the customer interview. The message hypothesis is just taking the data exercise here where you have been able to tier that and figuring out what is the message, what is the insight. Peter Thiel calls this the contrarian point of view, right? What do you believe about your market that no one else believes? That's one way that this might express itself. The message hypothesis is going to be, it might be derived from the data, but it might just be in that segment of tier 1 accounts, you know that this is the static message to send. Fuck personalization. It doesn't matter. People care about the insight. They want to know about them. Sometimes it's emotional resonance, sometimes a cash message. There's definitely a component of a great offer here. But the beautiful thing is you don't have to guess and you don't have to test blanketly on the market. What you do is you close the damn triangle and you go back to the customer and say, customer, You brought me this insight. I figured out how that insight related to data. Here's that message. And you would get that message because X, Y, or Z seem to be true about your business. Does that seem right to you? Now, the customer is going to say, Jordan, you're totally crazy. You missed absolutely everything about what I said to you. But they're the one that's going to know. And when you close that gap and you run around the triangle over and over again, you create an iron triangle. And you're able to take a customer insight to scaled TAM scoring, the stuff that we do, to a functional message hypothesis that's validated against an actual purchasing customer. And you take that triangle and you try it out in the market. You run tests. You send 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 emails, and you see if that insight holds. And the nice thing is that you have all of this great data to back it up. You have actual customer conversations, and you're likely to get 2, 3, 4, 5 tests from this insight and say, Jordan, I think you're in X or Y situation. A customer of mine was that exact situation. Here are the benefits of alternatives, and here's where I stack up. And don't trust me at all. Here's the offer to prove my value to you. That's the GTM Insight Triangle. Have an absolutely wonderful Friday, May 24th. If you're in San Francisco and you are a go-to-market executive or you're working on go-to-market tools, I'd love to meet. I'd love to hang out. Thanks so much for watching. I am so grateful. One of my best performing videos was 1 hour and 22 minutes. You people are so psychotic for watching that, but I think that it is the pleasure of my lifetime to have people message me that spend so much time with my content. It touches me. Thank you so much and have a wonderful Friday. Bye.